The Football Pod on OTB Sports in partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the GAA Senior Football Championship. Check out #The Toughest for more.
Episode 22 of the Football Pod. Paddy Andrews, how are you?
Good evening.
James O'Donoghue, how's the form?
Form is very good.
This summer is heating up nicely, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah.
Everything but the weather,
weekend.
lads. Weather's still crap, but we finally got some good games, lads.
Absolutely.
Oh, the games are unreal.
Were they, James? Were they unreal?
Oh, they were exciting anyway. There was the knockout, even the knockout element was a different element to it. And there was surprises. You weren't sure what was going to happen. Like the football championship has been terrible up to this weekend. Let's face it.
You're selling that product, Jimmy.
Ulster's done all right. The Galway Mayo game was all right. Munster's been poor. Leinster was poor. But this weekend, I thought it kicked off. I thought it was a savage weekend of football.
Brilliant,
What do you think of the quality, though? I get they were all, like the finale, both finales in Croker on Saturday were brilliant.
Yes.
I didn't think the quality was overly high in those games.
No.
Well,
I don't think we were...
Cork Limerick as well was relatively exciting, but it was...
Quality was low. The shooting on show wasn't great. But then it explodes. It doesn't take 10 seconds for it to explode in Clonus.
The first half in Clonus was a godsend.
Yeah.
The second half kind of died off because Donegal literally just fell apart. But
they
that
capitulated
first half
after the
was
penalty.
savage stuff, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was actually exciting to watch, like great
Yeah.
football. It was actually nice. You'd watch it with a smile on your face. Like that goal was
what a goal!
unbelievable.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite part about the goal?
The finish,
The catch and finish. The catch and finish.
Body.
Beautiful.
The hands so sticky. His hands are just unreal. He plucks it with such confidence. And he doesn't blast it top corner.
No.
He kind of curls it. He doesn't curl it either, but it's kind of an in-betweener with
Whips
accuracy.
it into the top corner.
Yeah, a whipper, that was it.
I
yeah.
have time
whipper.
for Grugan. I like what Grugan's about. Like,
Yeah.
class, panache.
Rory Grugan, fair play, boy. Was that the score of the week?
Yeah, there was a couple of nice ones in a lot of the games, but that's just the timing of it. Just talk about setting the tone. And do you know what the big thing? And we'll get into it. 8 weeks ago, Armagh lost to Donegal by 7 points.
Yeah.
And they didn't fire a shot. And it was everything that Armagh are not. It was so passive. It was conservative. It was like, we'll sit back, we'll try and contain Donegal. Armagh can't do that. That does not suit their players. It doesn't suit their team.
No.
And talk about learning their lessons. In 8 weeks, they've had a 17-point swing to take Donegal out. But that goal set the tone for Armagh. Front foot, win the throw in, 60-yard kick pass in, going for goal. It was aggressive, front foot. Even the next 20 minutes don't go great for them.
It doesn't.
To be fair.
Yeah.
But talk about that was an intent. We spoke about it last week. Mentality. It was brilliant to see. And then once the black card, we'll obviously touch on that. But from that point on, they steamrolled Donegal. And that's what Armagh are good at.
Yeah.
They've learned their lessons going, feck this. We're not parking the bus or trying to be overthinking things. It was like, what suits our style of play? What suits our team? And it's front foot. It's aggressive. And that goal was just a total symbol of it. Brilliant to see.
Can we stick on it for a minute? Because there's a couple of moments in the goal I want to break down, right? What do you make of the tussling for the throw-in?
Always happens.
But it's brilliant. But Ben Creeley does. It's brilliant. He nails two lads. He gets contact on two fellas. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's unreal. O'Neill looks like he's going to punch it, changes his mind, fetches it, wins the free. James is a man who's admitted that he's never caught a ball over his head. Can you talk me through what Rory Grugan did really well there?
Failing, no? You got one of failing, did you know?
No, it was a year before that. It was
13.
Yeah.
Because he kind of goes in behind McCall, doesn't he?
It's a great.
Well, it's so planned. It's so planned. We didn't see the behind the goal shot, but he knows it's coming. The defender doesn't know it's coming, so he's probably shown out, and next thing backtracked in,
out to in.
But yeah, out to in. But when he goes up with such confidence.
Glorious,
even if the fella came up behind him with a fist, he'd nearly still caught it.
Yeah,
McCall's not anywhere near him. Like
he's not
anywhere near him. Like. He actually could have fumbled it if he needed that. He still would have got it.
Like McCall's probably thinking, O'Neill's my man. I'm waiting for O'Neill to come in here in the next minute. He's out in midfield at the moment. I'll be taking O'Neill for this game. And
set plays, lads. Set plays from the throw in.
Their thing. At under 14 level, club level, Division 6 from Condra Mead Hill, we used to have a beautiful move where we'd split the pitch and get goals up it. Okay. I don't think it's ever been done enough at intercounty level. I know that Dean Rock obviously had it, that goal in the All-Ireland final within like seconds. Merchant from the second half. Was that a set-piece move, Paddy? Or did that just happen?
Merch actually wasn't a set play. We had a lot of set plays from throw-ins.
Did you?
Back longer than that, probably from 16, 17.
What was your favourite one?
We kind of had the same one all the time. It actually worked a lot. Dino's goal was obviously, but Merchant's goal, that wasn't a set play. There was never a play where like Merch, you win this and then 60 yards up the pitch and outside of the right into the corner. Like that just happened. Like the big thing and what a lot of teams try and do, there's different ways you can go about it. You're trying to vacate the centre channel. That if you win this throw in, you're going straight down the heart for goal. And we had an advantage because we had 6 kind of scoring forward. So any team we played, we would have had a lot of their defenders would have been man marking us. And we would have, like say, Bernard Brogan at his peak. Berno could walk over to the corner flag and the man is going to be over bear hugging him. And he's like, I'm not even interested in this play. So we could manipulate where defenders were going. And
it's the only time in the game, apart from a kickout, that is 6-on-6 guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you can actually create.
If you're a defender, Jimmy, you know, you're talking about McCall there, Tommy. Like you're revved up, and like you've had 2 weeks going. I'm going to be picking up Rian O'Neill. So if Rian O'Neill trots in, you're going to be all over him, and he can literally just jog out. We used to just run away from the ball, just run away, and the defenders would follow us, and we're literally there nearly laughing to ourselves as the lads are running 60 yards away from their goal, and all of a sudden there's the whole centre channel is wide open. So that's, you can see Armagh was a set play. You just know it's intent. Mayo actually did it to Dublin in the
league
this year in Croker. Yeah, Dermot O'Connor going to score off it. So lots of teams are doing it. It doesn't always work. There's times where it goes haywire, but you do see teams that win the throw up. There's serious intent to what they're looking to do. And Armagh's goal was that literally couldn't have worked any better. It was glorious to watch.
It was class. But isn't that what we love about football though, when something like that happens? Like just the skills on show.
It's so rare you see it. That's why it was nearly so. One, it was 10 seconds in. It's the second fastest goal ever, so it just grabbed everyone's attention. But it's so rare you see a goal like that.
Yeah,
60-yard kick pass, a fetch, and blast to the top corner. There's always
It was sort of like Lacey to Murphy, you know, in 12, a little bit like that. The way that he kind of got, now obviously Murphy kind of finished slightly differently. James, did you have a little playbook in the carry forwards?
We had a few, all right. I suppose usually if we had Donaghy inside, he'd be the main focus. So it'd be drag all the attention onto Donaghy and hit someone else would probably be the play. We had a good few different ones. I don't think any really paid off, except for the one in Donegal, or against Donegal. Again, he got a goal.
Oh, yeah.
Caught on Paddy McGrath. And again, he had a foot on him nearly.
Yeah.
Well, not a foot, but he had a couple of inches on him and picked it over his head and put it in the net. But it's like when you've actually worked on something and it comes off in the game, it actually gives you a bigger boost than just getting an off the cuff goal. It's like, whoa, we actually know what we're doing here. This is serious. Like we're in control of this game. Yeah. But just the long ball that went in from Rian O'Neill, like it is so exciting, but it's so sad that it's so rare. Like that should be part and parcel of the game all the time. You could hear the crowd were so happy with it. They were delighted. But in a lot of games, the crowd go to sleep because it's all hand passing over and back. But as soon as the ball goes in...
Jimmy, the ironic thing is, Donegal for about 25 minutes yesterday, they play Murphy inside. They're hitting him with long balls. McBrearty wins a lovely one off Shane O'Donnell. Murphy's fouled a couple of times. Caelan Ward put some good balls into it. You're thinking, Jesus, Donegal are actually kicking the ball in there as well. That's why it was such an exciting game.
Yeah.
And then it does. Like there's no getting away from it. Like Donegal at 25 minutes are 9 points to 1-2 up.
Yeah.
And they can't miss. We're talking about long range. Thompson's nailing it. McBrearty's sharp. He's involved in the game. He's not hiding in the corner. Murphy's on it as well, and he's playing in his best position. And you're thinking, the penny's dropped here. And Armagh were in trouble. Yeah.
It went to 8. It went to 8 to a goal and a
9 to 1-2. Thompson puts them 9 to 1-2. So
it was a game of
points up, and you're thinking Donegal can't miss, and Armagh are struggling at this time. But
it was the kick out again. They pinned him on the kick out.
The black card and
we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Never seen such a swing in a game in momentum.
They were level at the time.
And it never came back. It was like, 28 minutes on the clock, Patton, the black card, Patton's off, O'Neill scores the penalty. And from that point, Donegal never get back. They never get momentum back over the next. Donegal go 31 minutes with only scoring 1 point, or Murphy free. I think they're outscored 1-9 to a point.
They panicked though, Paddy. Didn't they press the panic button very early? Like they're lobbing ball in, and it's too late. Like there's too many people back at that stage.
It's a tricky one because the big thing, they were getting huge advantage from pressing Rafferty's kickouts, like we knew they would. When you go down to 14 men, you lose that. You can't afford to do that anymore. But even when they get 15 back on, a minute into the second half, now bear in mind, Armagh pulled away and we've got a 5 or 6 point lead at this point. The energy isn't there from Donegal. Even though they're pushing up, Rafferty's getting them off way easier. And it's like there was just a deflation there. And you'll see it in the games, and we'll talk about the other games in the weekend. Momentum is massive in games. Like one sloppy play, and Kildare were guilty of this, and Roscommon were absolutely guilty of this. And that costs you the game. When you give momentum to the big teams,
they don't give it back.
You don't get it back.
Like Cork were blessed. Cork nearly let Limerick back into that game.
Only for the penalty.
Yeah.
Your man gets sent off. What was it? Walsh, after the diabolical stuff. I was laughing away to myself on the couch looking at it. But they get a penalty in the next play. And that gets Cork off the hook. But that momentum piece is like, you seen it with Roscommon, you seen it with Kildare, Oisin Mullen's goal, and Mayo never looked back, and Donegal. And I seen Patton getting stick on this. This was not Patton's fault.
Really? No.
I'm not blaming Patton on these. No chance.
Why? Give it to me.
He definitely takes 50%.
He chips the ball to McFadden Ferry, and McFadden Ferry, it's like a bar of soap. He drops it. Then he gives it to McCall. Maybe should he give it to him? Beside the point, McCall has it in his hands, and then Armagh come in and bury him. So I think it's harsh. I think it's easy.
Patton not get a bit of blame there because you've been doing quite well on long kickouts. No, Armagh had a bit of joy.
Patton for McFadden Ferry.
No, not that one.
The
second one. You've just been blessed. Like Soupy Campbell's after missing a sitter that he should have squared to Grugan or buried. You should have buried it.
Yeah, he should have.
He should have buried it, yeah. He should have buried it.
Like,
if he had a left leg, he could have gone across the keeper.
Left leg, or do you not go outside of the right slightly? Just stand it up and bury it?
Anywhere but where he hits it. Anywhere.
Frightful, I couldn't believe it.
Anywhere where he hits it, and it's a goal. I say Grugan's going mad on the back.
It was like a cornerback, Paddy.
He didn't need to
taking that shot. That's not.
Pass it. He should have scored it.
Oh, he should have buried it.
I wouldn't have passed that.
Yeah. No,
I 100% agree. Yeah, everyone was saying he should have passed it, but an extra pass is more risk.
No, Patton would have cut it out.
Just buried it.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard for Patton to get the full blame. There's no way the first one's Patton's fault. Patton Ferry just has.
But in terms of decision making, Paddy, right? He's done the first one. Fair enough. They've got away with it through a miracle. And Rian O'Neill has pinged the 45 about 30 yards over the crossbar with emphasis and intent, right? So, whoa, okay, let's just settle down here, get back to basics. I'm having some success out the field. It will go along. And he tries another one right in the middle of the D. And they just converge on him.
But again, McCall has it in his hands. Whether he
should
have given it to McCall, he's kind of playing with
panic.
Trouble.
There's panic in the Donegal defence that stage. I want my keeper to bomb that. I want to hit that into a contest to Mike Murphy.
So good that he doesn't do that. He doesn't panic. That's like a huge plus for a goalkeeper.
Yes, you could see it either way. Because he could say...
I think it's harsh that everyone seems to be pointing the finger at Patton here. And it's not solely his fault. Yes, does he play McCall into trouble? Potentially. But McCall still has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he should do better.
Yeah.
He definitely blamed him anyway on the bench.
Player cam. And if the poor old Mayor Ford are trying to get in between them,
I love there was a microphone there.
You're not supposed to cover your mouth when you're...
You didn't need a microphone, Jimmy. Yeah. I knew what he was saying. I think everyone could read the lips.
That was classic. But what a hammer blow. Like, fair enough, you lose the first one. You lose the kick out, it's a point. To do it again, a penalty, a black card, you're down to 14, and then you take off one of your best players. In terms of momentum swing, it's an awful kick in the...
What did you think about taking McBrearty off?
Nonsense, in my opinion. Crazy call.
Mental.
What would you do?
Just
I personally would have played
the outfielder a goal for 10 minutes.
Who would you put in?
We've seen Tyrone and Galway and teams of this kill a game for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And they didn't kill a game. They didn't lie down.
Again, it's very unlike Donegal. And you seen it in the Limerick Cork game. Enright gets sent off or gets a black card. Cork score 1-3 without reply.
Yeah,
that's the game gone. Essentially, it's so important for our teams. And to be fair, Tyrone didn't get a lot right the week before, but they managed that black card.
They really did. Yeah.
For Donegal, that game just went for them. That was it.
Yeah.
It was like Donegal had nothing prepared for like those situations or those circumstances.
Jimmy. For a team like Donegal, and Declan Bonner's been there 5 years, and with the experienced players they have spoken about that. 1,000,000%.
It's easy.
If we get a black card, this is what we're doing. And we didn't see any of it.
Yeah. Is it easy for plans like that to go out the window when you're in the middle of a championship game?
Shouldn't.
But it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
That's when you stick. That's when you really stick to what you've done.
But isn't that, Jimmy? That's when you're looking for experience and leadership, and that's what Donegal have in abundance. They're not a novice team. Like, they have been around the block, would be known for being street smart, and he just didn't see any of it. But I just thought to him, the blow of going down to 14 men, conceding the goal, and then taking McBrearty off.
I know. Let's get into that. Let's get into that a bit deeper in about 10 minutes' time.
That's the intro, don't it?
That's the intro. That's the podcast finished.
It's going to be a 3-hour podcast.
Tune in next week. No, it can't be because we're under a bit of time pressure tonight. What else stood out over the weekend? Like, Keelan Sexton's performance for me kind of set the weekend off. Like, that Clare's Common game was a bit mad, and that Clare had a really good first 35 minutes, 36 minutes. Yeah. They don't score then. They look like they were completely dead for the next 20
They were gone, lads.
They were gone. Roscommon are like in such a good position. I think even if that game goes to extra time, Roscommon possibly recover. But they absolutely, 69th minute, they're 5 points down. Murray makes a foul in the corner. Cleary nails it. Then Malone puts a ball in, speculative ball. Clare's still 4 points down. They win a penalty.
Yeah.
Sexton buries it. But for me, it's the next free, 47, 48 meters down. I loved it. He just told Jamie Malone.
Absolute arrow.
You could hear him say it. I have it. But you could see that when the camera came to him, he pinged it with such confidence.
Glorious,
no messing around, straight over the bar.
What did you make of the little kind of run afterwards? You know, the follow through. He kind of sprints on another 5 yards. You think that gave him another little bit of legs?
I had the juice. He wasn't going to be short juice. But you know what? Out of all the teams that were beaten this weekend, and it's a hard place to be around in the championship, and Donegal was, look, a 10-point defeat is pretty catastrophic for them, and the question marks over Declan Bonner and all that type of thing. But Roscommon surely are the team going, how in God's name did we lose that? Because they had the game won. They were poor in the first half, really poor. They're 2 points down at half time. But to be fair to them, they get a rocket and they actually start. They finally start tackling with intensity and putting a bit of pressure on Tristan O'Callaghan, who had a challenging day and goal for Clare, and he was getting away with it in the first half. But Roscommon, to be fair to them, Downey Smith comes in, guys around the middle of the pitch, Ultan Harney and these guys, they get on top and they steamroll Clare. 5 points in the spin. With 3 minutes to go on the clock, they're 5 points up, and Clare are gone. Absolutely out of ideas, out on their feet. And you're just thinking, manage this game. It's the momentum piece again. And 8 minutes later, Roscommon are out of the championship.
It doesn't take much, even when you're that gassed.
The camera cuts to Anthony Cunningham when Jamie Malone kicks the winner, and it's a brilliant score for Clare under those conditions. They keep the ball for just under 2 minutes, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, they're going to turn the ball over off Tristan's kick out. I did not fancy him coming down the stretch. And they work it well, and you think they're going to get turned over, and they keep it. And it's brilliant play, and they get it to Malone. And actually, Malone should actually probably pass it inside. There's a guy off his shoulder, clean through.
Can I give you something on that?
He takes the shot, and I'm going, that better go over. And
can I give a bit of context?
Yeah.
Draw game in Ennis. There's 10 seconds left in the clock. Jamie Malone does the exact same thing. I told you about it before. He puts Clare a point up, and Conor Lane found 90 seconds extra on top of the 4 minutes injury time, and Limerick get a free to equalise it then. Like, Malone did the exact same move. Chip ball inside, wins it, beats his man, curls it over the bar from the middle.
It was a phenomenal score, but if you're... The camera cuts to Anthony Cunningham, and he's just panic. He can't believe what has just happened in the last 7 or 8 minutes, but it was just a lack of game management. Roscommon turned the ball over on a short kick out, and it's like you're questioning the quality. Do they have the quality and the experience to see the game out? And they didn't. But for Clare to pull it out of the bag a phenomenal story to kick off the weekend. But out of all the teams that are beaten, Roscommon surely are looking at that going, if we played that game 10 times in the next week, we'd win. We'd win 8 or 9 of them.
Psychologically as well, lads. Like Roscommon haven't won a championship game in Croke Park since 1980. Like that is a monkey on the back, regardless of whatever way it's painted. That is going to hang over.
They won't have a better chance to be 5 points up with 3 minutes of normal time left.
I think there's less. But yeah, 2-15. Clare 2-15. Roscommon 1-17. Clare moved into the quarterfinals, where they will now face the Ulster winners, Derry. We're going to be talking about that game a little later. The other game that afternoon, Mayo 2-13, Kildare 14 points. Now, the headline on the Irish Times, I'll dig it up here.
From who?
I think it was, I don't know if it was Clerkin now, but it wasn't very complimentary of Mayo. They're into the next round. James, I was wondering last week if Mayo got the job done, would they do enough to convince you to back them the next day out? They're now playing Kerry in the All-Ireland quarterfinals.
Yes. Well,
are you happy?
How they managed to dig that result out was a miracle.
It's Mayo, isn't it?
Oh my God.
The most Mayo performance. The most Mayo performance.
They were beaten badly. Kildare were excellent. Created loads of chances, but just kicked it away. Could not put the ball over the bar for a while. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to conversion. It comes down to getting a score in a big moment. And next thing, every time you miss, it just gives Mayo another little bit of hope. Another bit of a, come on, lads, let's go. And in fairness, they have that in abundance.
They do.
The character they showed was unbelievable.
100%.
And yeah, look, Kildare they were the architects of their own downfall, but you have to give credit to Mayo. But I can't, I hate backing Kerry, obviously, but I can't see how they're going to topple Kerry.
No chance.
The headline.
Don't have enough up front.
Zero. No chance.
The headline.
Absolutely no chance.
Nipa. Yeah, like you got them too reliant on the Keegans, Oisin Mullins, Durkins to get scored. Like Durkin had 5 wides, I'd say.
Durkin did. It was like Durkin had never played in Croker before.
0 from 4.
Like, do you know when there's no energy and there's no crowd there? Does that suck the life out of it a little bit? You know, like, does the crowd give you that extra 5 yards in Croker when there's that rush of excitement and the noise?
It does.
Mayo had it going down the stretch, to be fair to them.
Yeah.
But like, the first half was diabolical. They're 8-5 down. 41 minutes on the clock. They're 10-5 down. And we were on the WhatsApp to each other, lads. Daniel Flynn gets a brilliant score, kind of full 360 and spins it over the bar.
That was class.
And Mayo were like car crash stuff up front. They were turning over the ball. They turned the ball over in contact so many times. Yeah. And that's credit to Kildare. Kildare were challenged big time on their work rate, on their intensity, on the defensive setup. And Kevin O'Callaghan was phenomenal in midfield.
As was Feely.
Points. And Feely, 2 of them turning Mayo over so many times. Now, Mayo were running down the centre channel, which is what Mayo do, trying to get runners off the shoulder. But Kildare were dealing with it so well. And it, like you're saying, 45 minutes on the clock there. I think Oisin Mullen has a terrible turnover. You kind of hand pass it straight to Kildare guy. Dermot O'Connor struggling. He's another kind of sloppy turnover. And just thinking, this game could go on for another 2 hours and Mayo are not going to score.
Mm-hmm.
And then just that momentum bit again.
Yeah.
The game starts to turn into a bit of chaos. Fergal Boland, who made a big impact, and to be fair,
you got some lovely ones.
He's a shooter. The boy's a shooter.
Out to poor old Jason Doherty getting the ball at 29 minutes.
Hey, do you know what? It could have been any of 4 or 5 Mayo players.
I'm just thinking, geez, after everything's been through, look, it wasn't happening for him, but it was not happening for any of the Mayo forwards. Like you say, Durkin is bad misses. Jack Carney, Matty Ruan again is kind of. This has crept into his game. I don't know. He feels like he needs to start trying to force shots and get scores, and it's not happening for him. And he's taking bad shots and he's carrying the ball into contact. And then all of a sudden, Boland gets a big score. They get a steal on a kick out. Loftus gets a score. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, from 5 points down, Daniel Flynn has the goal chance.
Hessian's block.
And that's gone. It's 8 points. Even if he taps it over, you're thinking this is out of reach. And just all of a sudden, Mayo get a bit of momentum. And Dermot O'Connor kicks a phenomenal score. And it's ballsy to take this kick on from under the Cusack stand, about 50 minutes on the clock. They're 3 points down and they're struggling. And he takes that on. And if that goes wide or if it drops short, it's just more melee sets in, but he nails it. And you can just see the belief Mayo get out of it. And all of a sudden,
that was what Kildare couldn't get. They couldn't get
they just couldn't get one
score.
extra score just to stop the rot.
They were
once they got into that,
yeah,
Mayo, and even still, like 10 minutes to go, they're still 3 points down. And Oisin Mullen, this is the most Mayo goal ever. There are 2 full backs do a 1-2 in the opposition 21 and rifle one to the top corner.
Yeah.
And it's back level. And you may as well have turned it off at that point.
Yeah.
And they were not winning that game.
But it was Mayo, yeah. We'll get stuck into the analysis in a few minutes because I have a theory on that. But Mayo's the chaos.
The forwards can't score. And it's always
which is the most important thing in football.
The forwards cannot score. Their backs. They're relying on Mullen. You can make the face all you want, Tommy. The facts.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not.
I am telling you, their forwards cannot get the job done, and they're relying on Keegan. Was off the charts again. Yeah. What a bloody player! Phenomenal.
The outside of the left,
to be fair, is normally good for 2 or 3. His shooting boots weren't on the other day, but they're relying on their backs to score all the time. They're not going to win the biggest prize. They're not. No. And that's not going to be good enough against Kerry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, we will come back into it. That Irish Times headline.
We have a lot of Mayo fans, but we're not going to Castlebar again anytime soon, are we?
No, and to be fair to the Mayo fans, the atmosphere in the room we started talking about the match was quite dark. You know, there's a strange feeling in the county at the minute. Okay. Mayo somehow overcome Kildare despite troubles.
They did win, so they do. Like there is.
I don't think it has to be that dark. I also think 2 weeks does Ryan O'Donoghue the world of good. I think it does Killian O'Connor the world of good. A man that does not look right and has played 70 minutes 2 weekends in a row.
They need Ryan O'Donoghue will be playing against Kerry by hook or by crook. He will be on.
He'll be playing with one leg.
Yeah,
that's the last.
Because Kerry will have to put Tom Sullivan on him, which at least occupies Tom.
Tom Sullivan to put Foley on Killian O'Connor, will they?
Yeah. Or else
Sullivan would be better
match
match for O'Donoghue.
That is a good match.
They'll probably start Jack Kearney there, won't they? Will they not occupy Foley?
No.
Jack Kearney, he will start full forward though, yeah.
I'd say he'd occupy
Foley. Way down the panel. Arm fell way down. He down to number 26 in the panel. He only got a few minutes.
I thought that was harsh at the end.
Yeah, I thought he played quite well actually against Monaghan. Let's move on, lads, because the final result of the weekend, Cork 2-18, Limerick 1-16. We're going to analyse this game later on. Cork go on to play.
Right,
it was a decent game, yeah. Conor Manny took his goal exceptionally well. Cork are now playing Dublin in the quarterfinal, and the fourth quarterfinal, which is possibly going to be the most exciting one, is Galway Armagh. So we'll be talking about the games in a couple of minutes. We'll also be looking ahead to the Tailteann Cup semi-finals a little later on. It's going to be Offaly up against Westmeath and Cavan against Sligo. And just to confirm, the All-Ireland quarterfinals for 2022, Derry versus Clare is going to take place in Croke Park on the Saturday at 3:45 p.m. Later that afternoon, Dublin Cork on the Saturday. And then Sunday the 26th, it's Galway Armagh at 2 o'clock in Croke Park and Kerry Mayo at 4 o'clock in Croke Park.
Good Sunday. That's good.
It is a good Sunday. You are listening to episode 22 of the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. It is brought to you every week with thanks to AIB, proud sponsors of the GA Senior Football Championship. Check out hashtag the toughest for more. We're going to be back after this, talking football.
Wow.
You're very welcome back to the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. Paddy, your Sunday night, I'm going to hazard a guess and say that you weren't watching the Sunday game.
No, I wasn't.
You were getting stuck into roars.
I was watching Rory, yeah. I thought he was going to blow it again, but to be fair to him, it was box office stuff. No, I watched all the games live this weekend. I wasn't feeling too hot, so sat and watched all 4 of the games. So I didn't need to watch the Sunday game. I was watching Rory instead. Yeah.
James, we brought it up earlier on, your tweet at the weekend, that football needed this weekend badly after a few bad months. What a game this is already around Armagh Donegal. And we kind of touched on a little earlier, the quality.
Voice of the nation, Jimmy.
The quality that was on show across the board recently over the last couple of weeks. We've kind of been bemoaning the shooting, some of the decision making, some of the football that was being played, the hand passing brigade in Derry Donegal, a lot of that. Even though there was drama, there wasn't great football. Let's get started here with Armagh Donegal, because we saw a different Donegal there. I'm going to break this game into 3 parts. There was the first 10 seconds, the next 25 minutes, and then the following 45 minutes. So we've spoken about the first 10 seconds. We've broken down that exceptional goal. The next 25 minutes, we saw a lot of impressive stuff from Donegal.
We did.
Long range shot taken from Murphy, from McHugh, from Kieran Thompson, from Shane O'Donnell. I would also say that Armagh have a bit to be worried about there. Were they not expecting Donegal to shoot from distance? Because they had a lot of space every time they took a shot.
They did, but Donegal have a very dangerous inside line. So it's hard to kind of cut off both avenues. You can't get bodies back around the danger man inside and have loads of bodies out around the 45 to stop the long distance shot. So Donegal's tactics there, I thought, were bang on. They have good kickers. At times they can be off, but in that 25-minute spell, their kicking was on, and they were kicking some outrageous scores.
After kicking, wasn't about just the speed of their play as well. There was everything. Look, Ryan McHugh's point, where he just got straight through the middle, outside of the right. There was gaps there in the Armagh defence, and Donegal have been guilty and were guilty in the Ulster final against Derry of just not going for that, just being too conservative, just trying to play safe. And that first 25 minutes, they were going for it. They were putting balls into Murphy. McBrearty wasn't staying in the corner waiting for the game to come to him. He was getting out and getting on it. Yeah. And McHugh, I thought Ryan McHugh's point was like a perfect symbol, as much as Grugan's goal for Armagh. It was a mentality of what Donegal were trying to do. It was like, we're going to take this on and play with intent.
Yeah.
I thought that was the most impressive thing. And it was very impressive for that first 24 minutes.
But they had 6 points.
Shane O'Donnell's point. Shane O'Donnell got a point where they broke, three of them broke at full pace. That wouldn't have happened a fortnight ago, because they'd have been hand passing. It would have been hitting the ground. There'd be one drop, but they went absolute full pace and got the score. But what they did, and I love this as a forward, is when you get sustained attacks. So like they kick a score or kick a wide, usually a score in that spell, press the kick out, get the ball back again. And like when you get those sustained attacks, you're constantly in the game and things just start happening easier. Whereas if you lose the kick out, the other team is down the other end, you're waiting around. But when the ball is up in your area for that long,
the energy,
it just gives you extra energy and you think, we're on here. So I think the way they pressed the kick out was excellent again. But the hammer blow just absolutely sucker punched them.
For the hammer blow, were you worried about Armagh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Paddy, 17 minutes in, it's 7 points to 1-1.
Yeah. That's O'Donnell's point after breakaway. They turn over Maureen O'Neill on their own 45 with a hand pass and they just break a pace. And it was because Donegal were playing, they were doing what everyone outside the Donegal camp was hoping they'd do, was asking them to do. Play with intent, play Murphy inside, play with a bit of abandon. And they were. And we know they have the kickers. And you've seen that with Thompson, seen it with Langan actually misses a couple, but Shane O'Donnell's flying, he kicks 2 points. The kick out, which we knew they were going after, and you could see it, the high behind. Like Rafferty's a left footer. A lot of teams used to do this to Cluxton as well. He has a favourite side. It's easy for a keeper if he's coming out to kick across his body. So if he's a left footer, he's kicking it across his body to his right hand side. And Donegal have parked everyone there. And for him to not do that, he has to open his body up,
make it very obvious,
to kind of alter his run up. So you know he's going to go to the far side. And it probably takes another second to do that. So you can start cheating off. So it was a brilliant setup from Donegal, and they were getting them. We still got a couple of way long, but Donegal were getting serious joy. I think they get 4 or 5 steals in that first 25 minutes, and 3 of them result in points. And you're thinking Armagh are under pressure here. But like Rian O'Neill stands up, I have to say, and we challenged him to do this because he would have been disappointed. He didn't impact the game at all in Ballybuffet, and it was a tough kind of build up for him, obviously with suspension and stuff. He actually misses a shot early on in this game, probably forced it. He kind of tries to go over his shoulder, McCall is on him, but you can just see his mentality. He's like, I'm going to have an impact on this game. Yeah. He starts to come into it, gets a beautiful score as well. Grugan gets another score, and Armagh kind of keep in touch even though they're struggling. But there's no getting away. This game changed on 27 minutes. The chip from Patton out, and Patton's hurting him with his kickouts as well. Yeah. Patton Ferry just has a complete brain freeze. They get away with it somehow. Caelan Ward, Lazarus-like on the line, taps it out for a 45 off Campbell. But Rian O'Neill nails it. And from the next play, McCall, Armagh's tails are up. They hunt intensity. And we're talking about teams pushing up on kickouts.
Yeah.
Cork, shambles. Roscommon in the first half, shambles.
Why? Why is it so bad?
They've 6 players up. So if you look before the goalkeeper for Roscommon, right? So before Tristan O'Callaghan takes his kickouts in the first half, if you stop it, Roscommon are perfectly set. It's like we're playing on the front foot. Anthony Cunningham, there's 6 forwards up. We're going to try and get a steal. Cork, the same. John Cleary has 6 Cork forwards pushing up on Donald O'Sullivan's kickouts. There's a phase 10 minutes into the second half. You look in the Sunday game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh yesterday. They've 6 guys up, and Hurley and Sherlock are standing there, and Hurley's full forward, and he's looking around, and he goes, great, I'm in a great position. Limerick literally just, the fullback jogs 5 yards to the right, and Hurley's there looking at him. And the keeper just chips it off, and it was the same for Clare against Roscommon. There's no point in having 6 guys up there in a perfect position if you're not going to work hard to try and get the ball back. And we had a thing with Dublin, when we pushed up on kickouts, we were essentially cornerbacks up there, all of us. And if you weren't, there were serious questions being asked. If I was full forward and we're pushing up on a kick out, I am having a row every single time the ball is being kicked out with the fullback. I'm all over him like a rash. If he runs, I'm trying to pull him down. That's what pushing up on kickouts is. It's not having 6 bodies up there just standing there like statues, because that's what happened with Roscommon. It's what happened with Clare. But look what Armagh did to get that turnover. It's chipped to McCall. If that was against Roscommon,
did they kind of bait?
Just jogged out. No one near him.
Did the Armagh boys? Because I want to come back to the Dublin thing again in a second. Did the Armagh boys kind of bait Patton to give that ball to McCall, because they kind of stood off a little bit and then all converged on?
Yeah. And Mayo were very good at it as well. But that's if you're pushing bodies up, if you're going to take the risk of putting 6 guys up the field to try and get a steal, that phase 1 is having the bodies up there, and that's hard work aerobically to get up the pitch and get into position for the kick out after a play. But then you've got to work if you're up there, you've got to make impact. You've got to fucking contact with your man. If the ball goes to your man, you're all over him, and that's how Armagh turn over McCall. But so many times in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, you look at Limerick chipping the ball to the cornerback. Like I don't like picking out players, but like Ian Maguire's guilty of it 2 or 3 times. Sherlock, Hurley, where the ball's just chipped to a man, and it's mentally not being aggressive, being switched on, but it's lazy as well. Like,
how aggressive
when you do press that high on the kick out, man for man, right? So say your 6 forwards are marking their 6 backs, and then their 2 midfielders drop in looking for a short one as well, and you push on them. So now you have your 6 forwards and your 2 midfielders pushed up high.
And if the ball, 65.
But if the ball goes long, you're in trouble.
That's the risk.
It's the risk. But like a lot of teams, what they do is they push the 6 and maybe 1 midfielder, but they won't push the second one, and then it's an easy out. So if you're going to push, you have to go full on. Yeah, it is. But
you probably have to pick your moments, James, don't you? You probably have to pick your moments of when to press.
Teams can do it. Teams might do it because it is quite hard physically to keep doing it. Teams might do it after set plays, after free,
after wide.
Teams doing it to us after 45 or free. They push up all over our kickouts. Otherwise, they just like say there's no point in putting 5 guys up and leaving a guy free, because those 5 guys are redundant. Then it's easy to just chip it off. If you're either going to go and commit or not, just let them have it and just get set up defensively.
Jack McCaffrey's wonder goal against Kerry, where Cluxon picks out Howard. Was that off a press? Was that off? Ye pressed, and was that Dublin's get out card? That
poor old Jason Foley was. I remember looking on the sideline. We knew he wouldn't come, and he was looking to the sideline, going, "Should I go all the way up there?" Because he was afraid of going all the way up, because it's high risk. It's high risk when you're committing bodies. Like James is saying, you could have 8 players inside the 65. And if you've got a Cluxton or a Began or a Morgan or a Patton that can kick over that, like that's exactly what we did for McCaffrey's goal. It's like hit Howard and Jack, go. And he runs 70 yards on his own. But that was Kerry were taking the risk, because you have to do that.
Was that your conversation in the build-up to that game, that when Kerry applied his press, because we did expect Kerry to press?
Exactly what was going to happen. Yeah,
that was going to happen. And then the other question I had was, how aggressive can you be when you're saying that act like a corner forward? Because like the kick out in my head that always stands out is, and it was the last minute of an All-Ireland final, the last kick out of an All-Ireland final, 17. Dean Rock puts you a point up in 17, and literally every single Dublin forward fouls their Mayo man. The referee doesn't know what to do. I don't think he even gave a free, but there was like, I think does
Costello gets the end.
maybe does Clark put it over the end line? Like
Clark kicks it over the sideline.
yeah, Clark kicks it over the sideline because he's nowhere to go. I think. Do you know, like
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
were you like that on every kick out?
Yeah. If there's times we were going after it, and we would do that. Yeah. That's what for us. That's what pushing up was. It wasn't 6 guys stand in their positions, and then if your man runs off, let him off. That's absolutely pointless.
And did you find that referees didn't really give frees during that moment?
Black card now was a big thing. You can't be as blatant as that. That was it. We knew it was the last play, so
yeah,
do whatever you got to do. But 10 minutes into the game, you can't do that because you're going to get a black card. But we'd be hands on, contact. That was pushing up. It wasn't standing beside him. It was you're holding him like.
Very often, if you're marking a corner back and your hands are on him, he doesn't want the ball then. No. He's not used to receiving a ball under pressure like a forward is. So if you have any bit of contact on him, he's probably going to make one run and probably turn his arse to that after that.
He doesn't want it. Like.
Yeah, he's going to do a token or try and make space for someone else. But
yeah.
We spoke about it last year, Jimmy, with Andy. Like Mayo were very good at this, of baiting you in, where they'd let you chip the ball to the cornerback, let you do that. And then their press was savage. They were all over you. And it's very hard to get the ball out. Because like you're a cornerback and you get the ball out the sideline on your 21 and you look up and all your players are being literally saddled. That's what Mayo were so good at. That's why we struggled to get the ball out. You had to beat the first. You had to take a man on to go by him, to break the line. And that's, again, it's massive risk to do this. But you can get caught between two steals, and you looked at what Cork were doing yesterday. You look at Roscommon in the first half. Roscommon get it right in the second half. They actually push up with intent.
They do. Yeah.
They start getting steals, and they're home and hose. The game is won. But for Cork playing Dublin now in 2 weeks, we know they've got great forwards. Hurley's brilliant. He can score.
Nice forwards.
Sherlock's lovely forwards. He kick scores. If you want to be successful, the other side of the game, you have to. There's loads of great forwards, but you've got to tackle. You've got to work hard. You've got to be a nasty. Killen O'Connor's brilliant at it. No one likes playing against them, but he can do both sides of it. But if you look at Cork yesterday, they are going to be under severe pressure with the work rate they have in their forward line against Dublin and Croke Park.
But my experience of Cork, they haven't got either kick out right.
No.
They haven't got their own kick out nailed down because they can malfunction on a press. And that you can walk out and there and you're
Limerick yesterday so many times.
It comes down to kick outs. Like it's a difference. It's a difference of about 10 attacks a game. If you win the kick out, every time you have an extra attack, and you're not defending. Do you know? It's a no-brainer for me. I personally, if I was Mayo, the only chance they have to carry is to press so hard from every kick out to try and keep the ball up that end. Do you know? It's their only hope.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think if there's a team that's equipped to do it, and Horan as a coach, they will do it. But like if you were saying the conservative thing there, you'd be like, well, Jesus, we need bodies back in front of Clifford and Sean O'Shea, but you've got to try and win the ball first. I think the best forward defence is keeping the ball away from those guys. If you give Kerry the ball, which they won't do, they were too experienced. They know the crack, like Horan knows the crack. But if you give them the ball, forget about it.
Yeah, we've already seen this year with Kerry. We've seen Kerry Mayo. We've seen Tralee, Oisin Mullen on Clifford. We've seen a Horan in the league final famously. So we'll come back to how Kerry are going to deal with Clifford and the Kerry attack again. But just sticking with Armagh.
Sorry, we've gone off tangent there.
Before the meltdown, it was a good tangent. Before the short kick out meltdown, we'll say, and it was not just Patton's fault, it was defensively Armagh or Donegal were caught. You know, Stephen Sheridan gets the goal. We gave Ben Creeley big credit last week and again for the goal today where he got put
swivel of the hips.
Swivel of the hips. Ben Creeley did very well. Another player in the middle third who every game now we're picking him out more and more. Jarly O'Byrnes kicked 3 points. And just before Armagh's comeback, there's a brilliant move where Donegal's they turn Armagh back in the corner. The ball spills to Jason Duffy. Duffy's on the sideline. He has 3 Donegal defenders coming at him. I don't know how Duffy gets away with it, but he breaks the tackle, cuts inside, slips to Burns.
I like Duffy, lads.
I like him too. Over the bar.
He's sharp, like I like him. He was good. He's not a headline grabber, but he was effective against Tyrone as well.
Definitely. He had a very good league. Very good league as well. What else do we like about Armagh? Because we know that was Reno Neal's statement performance. Kicked 1-7, 5 from play. We like Duffy. Like, what else do we like about them? They're middle third.
I like Morgan in the full back line. He's had a very good couple
He's
of weeks.
beefed up. James Morgan's always been a very tight defender.
He was always beefing up. I remember we played Armagh in a challenge game a few years ago, lads. What was it, 15 or 16?
Is the one in DCU?
Oh, man.
Let's hear the story. Let's hear the story.
World War III. Oh, and Morgan was right in the middle of it. Jesus Christ. It was.
Was there a few fellas suspended for like championship or something after that?
No one said it.
No,
but there was a rule if you get sent off in a friendly, the rule carries over. The suspension carries over.
Honestly, it was like Beirut, lads. It was a challenge game.
Were you involved?
Yeah, I was playing.
No, but were you involved in the row?
No, I'm no use to the row.
One of the lads ended up in hospital, didn't they?
I don't know the ins and outs of it now.
I remember this very well.
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it was hectic back in the day. But Morgan over the last couple of weeks, he's their man marker. He's their go-to guy. So he picked up McBrearty, but he's good on the transition as well.
Yeah, he is.
It's not like he's just dogging his man. He's good on the transition as well. Jerry Og was very good yesterday, and he did a really good job on Myler the week before as well. The big plus for Armagh now is they know what doesn't work. Like, they talk about a team learning lessons from the game of Ballybuffet. We can't be conservative. And the other plus, they got huge momentum now. They mowed down the All-Ireland champions and they blitzed Donegal by 10 points. Now they're back in Croker. And Croke Park will suit Armagh.
Down to the ground.
No two ways. It's the best game for me, hands down, that quarterfinal, Armagh and Galway. We knew there was going to be at least one blockbuster.
Yeah.
That's the one for me.
So not Kerry Mayo?
No, I think Kerry will win that convincingly. And the same, Dublin is a non-event.
I don't know. I think Mayo will throw a spanner in the works. I think they will.
They won't.
No. And Derry Clare is going to be as brilliant as Clare's story is to get to the quarterfinal for the second time ever. It's a great draw for Derry, put it that way.
Can we just can I ask you about this cliche here? Who does Croker suit? So Croker suits Dublin. Yes. Croker suits Kerry.
Yes.
Croker suits Mayo.
I think it suits teams who move the ball quickly.
Does it suit
Mayo because they've been there so many times, but their style of play.
Mayo playing Croker more times than Dublin at this rate.
Yeah,
they're there a lot. They are there a lot. So I would say it suits Mayo, but not as much as it suits Kerry, Dublin, Armagh.
Will it suit Derry?
I don't. No. Not as much as it would Armagh.
Derry's game plan is based on containment, shutting down the opposition. So you want tighter spaces for that.
Yeah.
Dublin, Kerry, Armagh is around expanse. Move the ball really fast. That's not saying Derry don't do that, but Derry's primary strength is shutting down opponents. Like Kerry, Dublin, Armagh is expanse, fast transitions, space.
And kicking the ball.
There's no pitch
saves your legs
for that.
Yeah. Kicking the ball saves your legs. You don't run as much. If you look at Clare against Roscommon, Clare were outstanding in the first half, right? But they ran themselves into the ground carrying the ball.
Out of gas, like.
They were absolutely spent with 10 minutes gone in the second half because they were running the ball at such pace. They were playing brilliant football, but it took an awful lot out of them. Whereas the top teams work less hard in possession because they're kicking the ball and it's just a bit slicker.
Let the ball do the work, Jimmy, as they say.
That's it. Even for Grugan's goal, you could see all the fellas trying to get back from Donegal. They knew it was coming.
Desperately, like.
They were sprinting back. The ball just soared over them. The ball's in the back.
No man faster than a 50-yard kick pass, lads.
No, there really isn't.
No matter who you are.
No, there really isn't.
It needs to be a top forward to gather it like Grugan did. Do you know, there's a lot of teams there that are putting ball in and it's coming straight back out.
Yeah.
And next thing, counter-attack. Not many balls come back out. If the boys give the Armagh full forward line a bit of a good ball, they're winning it. Like
you said that in the early weeks, though, James, in the pod, the Armagh hands, their forwards handling. Yeah. You picked that out straight away. So yeah, we're probably going to see more and more of that as the weather improves, hopefully, in Croke Park and surface improves. So okay, that's exciting. And do you know what? Let's rest on Armagh and come back to them a bit more in depth next week. Let's move on quickly to Mayo Kildare because we've been kind of hinting at them a little bit. Safe to say that Mayo bludgeoned Kildare into submission in that last 15-20 minutes. Like Kildare just, oh my God. I feel like there's something there. I feel like there's something there with this management team and that squad of players, but some of their misses in the second half, some of the mistakes. And again, they're also unlucky as well because like there was times in that game where I'm looking at Oisin Mullen and thinking, like, are they just playing him in the wrong position? Like, where is the kid that we were also excited about? He was looked limited. And then he rolls into that tackle, bursts out of it, plays a 1-2 with a Horan, and buries a rocket with his wrong foot, with his left foot. And it's just like, they're mind-boggling. But like, it was analysed in the Sunday game, I think, or maybe it was somewhere else. It wasn't the Sunday game. I can't remember where I saw it. There's 3 players tackling Mullen before the goal, and he actually gets bumped out. He actually gets bumped towards the goal.
I thought he's turned over here, 100%.
Yeah. He possibly overcarried it, did he?
Yeah, I don't know. But it was coming.
To keep Aaron O'Neill has to not dive there. He's seeing a cornerback coming in at pace on his bad leg. There is not a hope he's going to stick it in the corner.
Through it, and that's it. Yeah.
He's not putting it in the corner. He's not opening his body and side footing it, or he's not curling it. He's laced it straight down the middle.
Be fair
to O'Neill, yeah.
Brilliant save off McLaughlin in the first half.
Diving, fingertips.
Very good save. And McLaughlin got another goal chance. He was probably a little bit more composed this time, and it was a much better effort than it was 7 days before against Began and Monaghan. But Kildare were very good, I have to say. Like I say, they're 8-5 up at half time. They should be further ahead.
Yeah.
A couple of bad misses in the first half. And do you know what? If I'm looking at that game, Daniel Flynn, he's a phenomenal player. And we've had this with Shane Walsh. We had it with Connolly for years as well, where there's a talent there that is just beyond the norm. But they're not getting enough out of it. They're not getting tangible reward out of it. That, like, he's so dominant. When he has the ball in his hands, Mayo cannot, and not just Mayo, no one can deal with him when he's in full fight. But they're just not getting the scores out of it. They're not getting the 7, 8 points. If it's not him, he should be pulled down for a free. Brilliant moments, but just they're not getting enough out of it. And that's a frustrating thing for him. I'm sure it's a frustrating thing for Kildare.
Why do you think that is?
It's just...
Like, from looking at like Connolly, Connolly delivered. Like, Connolly delivered, like.
Yeah, but Connolly probably didn't deliver for the first couple of years. We're looking at him going, this guy is the most talented player I've ever seen. And it took him a couple of years to get that. Shane Walsh is a prime example right now. We're Galway are waiting on him, and it's just the wrong decision, or he drifts out of games. You're going, if this guy has the ball in his hands, we should be getting a score 9 times out of 10. If it's not him, it's someone else. Feely kicks a ball into him.
Yeah.
Daniel Flynn. Brilliant.
Beautiful ball.
Catches it out in front of Mullen. Brilliant start. But he lines up to take the mark on his left foot.
Yeah, couldn't believe that.
And I'm just looking at it.
Left foot.
And this is what I'm looking at. And it's not like it's on the sideline and there's no angle there. That is just like, you're brilliant. I get it. Kick the ball over on your good foot. Don't fuck around. And he hits it off the post. And if I'm Glenn Ryan, I'm looking in. It's a brilliant play, and he eats Mullen out to the ball. I think that's your first ball. Put down a marker, and I see him lining up on his left, and I'm going, he's in the D. I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you taking the risk of not kicking the score? And he hits the post, and I'm just like, mate, come on.
You like
that's mentality.
You like that side of the pitch. You like that side of the pitch, James. As somebody,
no excuse,
100%.
No,
oh, definitely not. But my question is, like, surely Daniel Flynn is practicing marks from that side of the pitch. Surely, James, do you take frees with your wrong foot?
I have kicked that on the other side with my right. I might have, but Daniel Flynn doesn't have a left. I don't think he has a left to be risking a point.
He's not
bad.
Risking a point. He's not bad, but
there's no point in taking the risk. There's no point in taking the risk.
But surely you're practicing marks from that side of the pitch, like. Surely lads are practicing marks from the wrong side.
But this is the thing, Tommy. He's not on the side of the pitch. He's basically in the D. Like.
Yeah.
If he catches that on the sideline and he's on the Cusick stand and there's no angle for a right footer,
you're passing that.
Yeah. Maybe I can see why you do it. We had it, the famous game in 13 against you lads, Jimmy. I get pulled. Jack Sherwood pulls me down in that exact position on the sideline, and Connolly takes it on his left foot.
Yeah. He sends Cluxton back into the goal.
Yeah, Cluxton's coming up, and Dan was like, "No, I'll take this on my bad foot," and I'm just going, "Oh my god!"
Did that go
over the bar? You got it, but he was on the sideline.
Yeah,
no angle as a right footer. Flynn is just in the middle of the goal. Just it's your first possession. Kick it over and then just look at Mullen and go, you are getting it today.
But even the
ripple after when he's nowhere near him, and it could be such a marker, and it's just not clinical.
Yeah, but the ripple it sends, Paddy, through the team then. They must have gone, what a ball in, what a fetch, what a mark. We're up and running. Next thing, off the ball.
It's a bit like the Grugan move. It's a bit like the Grugan move.
One of their key players as well. This is what we spoke about this before in previous pods. There's matchups in games where, like, Mullen is a massive player for Mayo, and that's a big job. And if you're Glenn Ryan, if you're Kildare going, Daniel, you go in and you eat him. That puts serious. Like, we had it with Con on Keegan
in 19,
and it was like, if you do him, you're like a dagger to the soul of the opposition. And that's just a perfect opportunity to do that for Daniel Flynn, and he doesn't do it. Now, there's other brilliant moments in the game, and the goal chance where he just comes out of nowhere. And we said he gets a phenomenal score in the second half. We kind of pivots around.
Yeah.
But, like, he just, every time, if he gets the ball in his hands, he's that good and he's that much ability. Make it count. Be clinical. And it wasn't. And it does. It just kicks into the rest of the team. McCormick has a couple of bad misses as well then. And they still go in 3 points up, but they were dominant in that first half.
On the prodigious talent question, I'm hanging on this for one more second. Did Jim Connolly change that much, or did everything else around Jim Connolly just improve?
No, but he became experienced as a player as well. Do
you think did he become a different type of footballer?
He became more consistent because he had to be. That's what we needed him to be, and he needed to be as well for his own sake. There's certain players that come along and their talent is just off the scale, and he was one. Walsh is one. Flynn is another one, and it's like it can take time. It can take for the penny to drop. It can take the team around you to develop. It can take just experience. You need to maybe lose a couple of games and realize, shit, I'm not making the most out of this. The talent is not in question, none, and the physical, the athletic capability, all three of those guys have is off the scale. But for Kildare, if Kildare are going to do anything, he has to be the man, and things like that. He just has to make it count. He's that big a player for Kildare. He's that much responsibility on the shoulders, and that's just the reality of it. Yeah. And you look at when Walsh for Galway, look at where Galway have gotten to now, where he is like, if he gets possession, something is happening. He's having a positive impact with every possession. That's the difference it can make, and that's just. I don't think Kildare got that from Daniel Flynn.
Yeah,
on Saturday, and that I'm not saying that's the difference, but it could have went a long way from winning that game.
Yeah, well, they're 11-6 up when he skins Keegan, O'Hara, Mullen,
unbelievable.
Cuts inside. I don't agree with slipping the ball to Neil Flynn. I think Neil Flynn's in the wrong position. He was unlucky. I also don't agree. I also don't agree with him taking a point at that position. He's after creating a goal chance out of nothing. You need players to do that. I think he's within his rights to go for that. It's a brilliant block, but it's a game changer. Not a game changer. It leads to Killian Connor point. It's a massive swing that moment.
Yeah.
I think Tommy, that Flynn is an excellent player, but he's more of an athletic freak than kind of has that sensational talent that Connolly and Shane Walsh would have. Do you know? I think the Shane Walsh would have, once he gets in that position, he has the class with the ball to find the corner of the net. So would Connolly. But Flynn, his brilliance is in the creation and the athleticism. I don't think he has the kind of the ruthless streak to get the goals and the points. So sometimes when he gets the ball and he slips it to Highland, I'm like, brilliant, because Highland isn't as good at the other stuff, but he's the finisher.
And Flynn has done that this year. To be fair to him, he has done a lot more of that this year.
Because he doesn't have that killer instinct in front of him.
Panache is the word Paddy used. I like that.
Panache,
Panache. Yeah. Well, can we just stick on Mayo then for another minute, right? Because I do think Ryan O'Donoghue is going to be back. It'll be essentially a month of a break, say, or a rehab period since we reckon he did the injury the week before, or the 10 days before that game. Killian O'Connor doesn't look right, as I mentioned earlier. He still doesn't look right, but they need him on the pitch. He's after playing 2 70-minute games back-to-back. That is a lot. He'll get a bit of a break. James Horan was under a lot of pressure coming into this game about starting Fergal Boland. Fergal Boland wasn't even in his 26 against Monaghan. He went out for his club Armagh that weekend. He kicked 10 points, 7 from play. This fella's a shooter. He played very well down in Tralee in the league game. Stephen Rochford was a big fan of his back around 4 or 5 years ago. You know, he's full of stamina, but he's quite small in stature. I wouldn't say he's your typical Mayo forward in that he wouldn't be the most aggressive tackler. You're not going to see him forcing a lot of turnovers. But James, he can't shoot. Mm-hmm. Do you think do you think that? Yeah, do you think that James Horan needs to be changing his tune a little bit now and starting a fella like Fergal Boland the next day out against Kerry?
Well,
if O'Donoghue's back, let's say O'Donoghu's back. O'Donoghu's back next.
O'Donoghu's going straight.
They need 3 Ryan O'Donoghu's. Do you know, or 2 anyway. Like
and 2 Daniel Flynn and 1 Shane Walsh.
Yeah, a couple of everything. But they will get attacks. They will be on the front foot. They'll have the right attitude. They'll have great character. But when they're in front of the post, God knows what's going to happen. So, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
And even Cillian O'Connor's free taking, probably, he was a 10 out of 10 free taker. He's probably gone to a 9 or an 8. So, the scores they were guaranteed before, they're not getting. And they're relying so heavily on the boys at the back to come up and score worldies. And there's going to be a day where they don't go over. Like Keegan threw over and outside the left. That was phenomenal, just sensational. That's a 5 out of 10 chance, really.
Yes.
So any forward they can get on the field as they can score points, I will be putting them on. Like, why wouldn't he? Is he questioning his work rate, or is it his aerial ability? If he's going to be half forward, I don't know. But they need scores. If he can provide them, get him on the field.
For me, Carr possibly hasn't shown enough, so maybe he goes in there instead of Carr, or maybe that's where Ryan O'Donoghue goes in when James Carr gets. Maybe that's where O'Donoghue comes in.
I
like Carr too, but he hasn't shown enough.
He doesn't, but he drives at the man. He has no fear. He'll go at it. He can get a couple of scores to play. He'll always get a couple of frees, and there's a goal in him.
Yeah, he made a massive impact off the bench against Dublin last year, coming in off the bench. I think Jordan Flynn's going to start. Like Mayo's middle third struggled massively the last day as well, and Flynn is going to be needed against Kerry. Like we've seen it again a couple of times in a row now with Ruan, Paddy. You think he's forcing it a little bit too much? I don't know whether that's
kind of crept into his game. He was trying to 4 scores, like the Galway game. He touched on her. I think he had 4 misses, even against Monaghan. It's just, and he can't score. And it's just, I don't know. Maybe he feels he's under pressure, but like they were outplayed in the middle field. On Saturday, like Feely and Kevin O'Callaghan did a phenomenal job. Like Feely gets man of the match. Like Kildare were dominant there, and like the massive challenge for Mayo. Like Kerry's midfield, they've kind of gone away from the David Moore for years. We're having a ball player there. Kerry's midfield is there to work. They're a workmanlike midfield. They're going to give a platform and get the ball inside to the lads, and they're going to run like Dermot O'Connor, Jack Barry. These guys, they've been a cornerstone. It's not fancy, but they've been a cornerstone of what's been successful for Kerry year to date. And for Mayo to have any chance, they've got to get a handle on there. Ruan needs to get back to the form of 12 months ago. Aidan O'Shea, we praised him against Monaghan. Thought he was excellent at Castlebar. Didn't have much of an impact on Saturday. He comes off with 10 minutes on the clock, or 10 minutes to go. That's a big area that Mayo, they need to get at least parity there. Because if Kerry get dominance around the middle and they're just peppering balls in and in to Clifford, and that's their platform, forget about it.
Yeah.
And Dermot O'Connor, in fairness, he can move the ball.
He's very good. I like him a lot. I think he's a brilliant player.
Yeah, he is. He
good
has
on the ball as well.
But he can move the ball with the foot, which is probably what Kerry need. They need to get the ball into the boys fast.
Yeah.
So do Mayo go dropping fellas back in front of the full back line, or do they try and create the bodies to put the heat on the Paddy Cliffords, the Dermot O'Connors to stop the ball going in the first place? That's a decision they have to
Paddy
make.
Durkin will pick up Paddy Clifford.
Mm-hmm.
Would they put Mullen on Clifford?
But see, if you
put
Keegan
on Sean O'Shea,
if you put Durkin on Paddy, right, and Paddy Clifford drops deep, you're taking Durkin out of a pocket for David Clifford to run into. Do you know? Like, do they lose a forward then to go back? Paddy Clifford would probably roam. So would you stick Durkin on him?
I think that entirely suit Durkin. Like Durkin wants to go forward.
Just leaves them open if they do that, I think.
Yeah. But like the big lesson from the league final, Horan man to man on Clifford on his own. We're not going to see that again. So it's the catch of, do Mayo push up and try and go after Shane Ryan's kickouts, which I expect they will. But if they lose it, they need to get bodies back quickly. And the one thing Mayo don't lack, and they never have lacked, is that athleticism and that energy that they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, their fitness is incredible.
Phenomenal. Like they did, they ran Kildare into the ground, but that's just years, training age that those guys have been on the road. They haven't built up. Keegan Keegan's 42 and he's still doing it. Like. Incredible. Like.
But even his highlight reel this year of the clutch scores he's got in the last 12 months is just absolutely off the chart.
The mentality is like, we're under pressure here. The boys up front are giving me nothing. Give me the ball.
This is me.
It's magic stuff. I have to love watching it.
So I think that Mayo will try and cheat off at least one of the Kerry half forwards. They have to. So
who'll be the Kerry wing forwards? Stephen O'Brien will start. Wing.
You're looking at Darren Moynihan or Adrian Spillane, or
like Moynihan was on the stairs, but he
got to get a sweeper from somewhere to try and get Aidan O'Shea to drop off Jack Berry. Try and get him to sit in front. I don't think he's mobile in Croke Park for playing that sweeper because Kerry kicked the ball.
Was Cohen going to be our sweeper?
Cohen's not mobile.
I told you.
We said actually. I agreed with you.
He had an awesome first half, and it was just so obvious. Change that matchup, like.
Yeah.
And they were slow to do it. They didn't do it for until 50 minutes gone. It
was a bad matchup. We called it last week.
Yeah. But so I don't know where they'll put Cohen. Cohen doesn't suit any of the.
Let's look at the matchups. Let's save the matchups.
We're kind of writing off Mayo.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you're writing off Mayo this quickly.
Anytime you write off Mayo, but they'll come back and they'll give Kerry their Lazarus-like recoveries again.
I'm surprised.
But I cannot see it this time.
Yeah,
they'll need to score at least 2 goals.
Able to score that,
and I don't think that. Yeah, and Kerry have improved defensively. I think
we have played nobody,
but through the league.
It's either structure in the league. There's
no, true. I just feel like the last couple of weeks, even that 2-week break from Mayo. I don't know. You saw all 4 beaten provincial finalists lose at the weekend. That little bit of momentum that those games have, I find it hard to not read into that. I just think there's something in it. It's going to give them extra 5-10%.
Mentality, definitely. They've got 2 weeks gone in there. Everyone's writing them off. We're already. No one is going to give them a prayer.
I'm not.
Get Ryan O'Donoghue back. They won't fear Kerry.
No, I totally agree. I just
think quality-wise, I think this Mayo team is not as good as the Mayo teams in 16, 17.
Yeah,
they've still got phenomenal mentality, and you can never knock them on that. But quality-wise, particularly up front, I just think they do not have the scoring power. Particularly take on a shootout like Kerry.
Yeah,
Kildare kicks.
We're going to have to move on, lads. Going to have to move on.
We do actually. Yeah,
we're going to have to move on, lads. The spread for Kerry Mayo is 4 points. The spread for Dublin Cork is 12 points. We'll come back to both those games in a little while. I want to look at the Tailteann Cup semi-finals in a moment too. Before we do that, Paddy, you got caught up in a bit of a controversial Twitter spot this weekend.
What?
Yeah, I'm only after spotting this now. I don't know if James has seen it. Stephen Poacher would have been involved with Carlo and Roscommon over the last couple of years, a selector and coach. And
what is he?
You would have met him on the sideline, I would imagine, over the years, Paddy.
I did.
Stevie Poacher tweeted you, Paddy, on your podcast last year, you were crucifying a team for not contesting kickouts versus Dublin when they were down to 14 men. Clare contested next to no kickouts today. What are your thoughts now? Paddy Andrews gets backed. Exact same. It won't beat the top teams by giving them the ball. You might get away with it against poorer teams who aren't as comfortable on transition, but you won't win the biggest games that way. This is the clinker. Anything else? Stevie gets back.
Sorry, explain who this guy is.
You know who Stephen Poacher is?
I don't.
Do you remember Carlo Rising under Turlock O'Brien?
Carlo Rising.
Do you remember Carlo Rising? Back when they kept you to single digits, 2017?
Carlo football team. What was their rising? Where did they rise to?
They had a lovely run and they did quite well, Carlo. They came from nowhere to go on a good run. Very competitive in Leinster. Nice run through the qualifiers. You went down. You were starting that day. You played against Carlo that day in 17.
Connolly was sent off.
I didn't actually play at all.
Did you not? Connolly was sent
with the
Connolly with the linesman. Yeah. He was the coach. He's the coach.
Were you not playing then?
No, I was on the bench.
I thought you were playing that day. Yeah, Stephen Roach would have been the coach, and he would have been involved in Anthony Cunningham's ticket for a little while as well. He was with Roscommon. He would have been with Roscommon. Okay. A bit of self-service here, was it? Okay, well now we're getting to sorry, I do think it's an interesting conversation. That's strange for Roscommon, a Division 1 team, not a top team in your opinion. Paddy gets back. You obviously aren't listening to the podcast that much. Now the poor Rossies get a hard time from Paddy most weeks. So
just go on with the facts, lads. I'm sorry.
With that, why do teams concede the kick out then? Because I saw Clare against Limerick and they would have conceded at times and retreated back into their defensive setup. We spoke already about teams pressing.
Back. Okay. Teams drop players back if they're worried about their one-on-one matchups.
Okay.
They're trying to clog the centre channel and trying to protect their defenders. That's why teams do that in the most fundamental sense, trying to frustrate the opposition. Some teams, and even top teams, have trouble breaking down that style of defence. It can frustrate teams. Mayo would be a prime example. There's a question mark, and there has been over the last number of years, of Kerry playing against this. Despite all the talent they have, that they can be frustrated when you get bodies back. That's why teams do it. My opinion, to win the biggest games, and that's what I'm talking about, the top teams, and no disrespect, but I'm talking about Dublin, Kerry, Mayo, teams that have been competing to win the All-Ireland over the last decade. If you want to beat those teams, you cannot give them the ball all the time. You have to be brave. You have to take a risk. And it is risky. And we spoke about it 20 minutes ago on this. Kerry doing it against Dublin in 19. Like you could be in a position where you have 8 or 10 players from the halfway line up going after a kick-out. And that would not be unknown for Mayo to do that against Dublin, for Kerry to do it against clubs, and for us to do it against opponents. Against Morgan, against Beggan, we're going after this guy. And it is high risk. But if you want to win the biggest games, you have to play in the front foot. This idea of just sitting back and containing, it's gone. You might win a couple of games, but to win the biggest prize, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like Carlo rising. Sorry, I didn't know about that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about winning the Sam McGuire. And for Clare, and I didn't even talk about Clare's kick-out. I thought it was brilliant for Clare to win the game because of what Colin Collins has done. He came on the show last year, and we've had the privilege of speaking to him, and I would have spoken to him a couple of times when we were down in Clare on Dublin training camps and things like that. It's a brilliant story for what he's done. Do I think that style of play is going to get them any further? No, is the answer to that.
Will we see Derry do it?
Yeah, they'll definitely drop off. They'll drop off.
They'll drop off.
But I mean, like Derry in an All-Ireland semi-final, Derry in an All-Ireland final. Are we going to expect to see this from them?
Derry aren't going to win the All-Ireland. No.
Yeah, I think they'll drop off as well.
Derry's actually an anomaly for this because Derry actually have brilliant one-to-one defenders. That you could leave McCaig one-on-one with someone in space. He might be as effective, but I'd still back him among any kind of one-to-one defender to do that. But Derry's style of play is won them an Ulster Championship, and it's brilliant. But Derry are not going to score enough to win the All-Ireland.
Yeah, okay.
That's the catch-22. And Donegal in 2011 were a very similar situation to Derry, where they were ultra-defensive, but they were brilliantly organised, and they won the Ulster Championship, and they came up short. They scored 6 points in an All-Ireland semi-final and lost to Dublin. They tweaked it the following year. They extended onto it to go, we need to be a bit braver on the ball, and they had guys like McFadden and Murphy, obviously, and they win the All-Ireland the following year. I think Derry are on that trajectory, but they're very much in their infancy.
Okay. So, last question on this, and it can be a really quick answer. Are you better off than retreating completely and just allowing the opposition to get kick out instead of the fake pressing that we're seeing?
Yeah, fake pressing is car crash stuff.
Okay. So you're better off retreating and setting up.
Cork may as well have thrown their hat at it and just gave Limerick the ball. And they actually do it when Hurley scores the penalty, they just let Limerick have it. But did Limerick lose a kick out yesterday? And Cork are pushing up.
Yeah.
Roscommon get one steal in the first half, and poor old Tristan O'Callaghan is under serious pressure.
Sometimes one steal is all you need, you know.
But like
one steal is all you need.
If you're looking at the sideline,
if you look at the stats,
you can see it clearly, James, on the Sunday game. He's told Cork to push up, so they've actually bothered to get into position, and then they do absolutely nothing. And he is going ape shit.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, my God, you're honestly just better off just come back and park the bus.
What's the stats, James?
But if you look at the stats, because we did them a couple of years ago, some fella did stats for Kerry just to show should you go long or should you go short, basically, on your own kick out. And if a team drops off your kick out, on the stats of the Division 1 teams over the 5 years previous to when we got the stats, 9 times out of 10, the team who gets the short kick out off gets a shot at the posts. Like, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
So if your team has a high conversion and you're getting your short kickouts off, you're getting,
if you give the best team the balls,
you forget it, exactly. But you can drop off teams who have poor shooters because you're getting all your bodies back. There's no quick ball going to the inside line, and they have to shoot with their halfbacks or maybe their half forwards who aren't as clinical.
Okay,
that's probably.
We would have done that.
I can imagine that it works. I'm going to move on now, Paddy, because you do have to finish off. Yeah,
we had teams drop off against Dublin, and we'd still go long. where we'd have Cluxton be standing there and we'd have our 3 fullbacks completely free and he still wouldn't kick it to them.
Yeah.
We want to get the ball up the pitch as quick as we can. And we're backing the guys in the middle of the pitch.
I can remember that. Yeah. No,
it's risky. It is risky, but for Poacher, our friends, that's what I'm talking about.
They obviously
maybe you should listen to the podcast.
But they must.
He doesn't listen. Is that what he said?
I think Stephen came in with that, yeah. But we've had Stephen and off the ball a good bit over the last couple of years. He's an interesting man.
Sorry, apologies.
Everyone's a friend of the state. He's an interesting man when it comes to football, for sure. Definitely is. I think it's nice to have different opinions, Paddy, and it was good to see it play itself out on Twitter. I enjoyed it. So predictions last week, Paddy, you nearly nailed it. Nearly.
Armagh, right?
Mayo,
Mayo, right? Rossies.
Mayo, Armagh, Cork.
Back the Rossies.
Yeah, we all called the Rossies. Apparently, we cursed them. And unlucky James with Kildare. You stuck to it. You said you were full confident. Now, we're going to go in depth on the Tailteann Cup semi-finals next week afterwards, after the games. We have a couple of minutes left to preview them here and to look at what you think is going to happen. Offaly up against Westmeath this week. Mahon's charges have been coming. Mahon was talking a big game about the Tailteann Cup over the last couple of months. They won the under-20s last year. They've been growing into a little bit of form. How do you see this one going, Paddy?
I'd love to see. I'd love to see Offaly win. I have to say, I think there'd be a big crowd on Sunday in Croker. Finally, more so than there was on Saturday at the qualifiers. But
yeah,
I think Westmeath. I just fancy Westmeath. I know, like Offaly were actually in Division 2. Westmeath were struggling as well. Like on paper, it's tight, but I just fancy Westmeath in this one. I hope I'm wrong, but I just think Westmeath like put Kildare, pushed them all the way.
They got 2-15 against.
I think Westmeath are probably going to nick that one.
They've been my team.
I'd be happy to be wrong.
Yeah, they've been my team for the Tailteann Cup. So, Paddy, I
tipped them at the very start. Yeah,
you're back in Westmeath here, are you?
I am.
I'm back in Westmeath too. James, are you going to curse Westmeath this week?
It's very hard to call, but I think, as I said before, just the enthusiasm behind Offaly at the moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Offaly in the mix.
Yeah, I think. Like they were in Division 2, they have a lot of high quality football played this year, whereas Westmeath were down in 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I fancy Offaly with the bigger pitch. I think that they could turn over Westmeath. I'm going to go Offaly.
I think it's going to be a very, very exciting game. Like some of Offaly's players, like Jack Bryant was playing, he had 12 in his back the last day. I just thought he was so smart. Some of the goals he set up, he's a young fella. He's not panicking in front of the goals. He's not trying to rush his shots or take his chances. He's been setting up goals around them. He's been very impressive. McNamee's flying. Anton Sullivan's flying. Johnny Maloney's been having brilliant games. I'm going to go with Westmeath, though. I just think boys like Head, and I just think they're the type of team.
Been quietly.
No, he's growing into it. But I just think that they're just the type of team that are there to win silverware like this. You know, they've been second, third best in Leinster for the last 5-6 years on average. I don't think they'll win the whole thing. You know,
Cavan are the team.
So Cavan, Sligo on the other side then. Sligo penalty shootout win against Leitrim, extra time win against London. They have a bit of momentum. They're missing. I think Niall Murphy is still injured, one of their main players up top. Cavan though,
it's brilliant to see them in Croker. And that's the whole point of the Tailteann Cup, and it has been a stunning success. And that's why I expect a big crowd there, a big crowd from Sligo, a big crowd from Offaly. Cavan are obviously going to bring
massive crowd.
But I think Cavan are the best team in the Tailteann Cup.
I think so.
Yeah. I think they'll have too much for Sligo. And I think they'll win it. I'm looking at a Cavan Westmeath final. I'd love to see Cavan Offaly, but I think it'll be Cavan Westmeath, and I expect Cavan to win it.
You got Galligan, James Smith, Paddy Lynch. Cavan have quality there.
McKiernan.
If they kick the ball like they did in the Ulster Championship, they can cause some serious trouble.
It's unbelievable they're Division 4 team.
And it's not though.
They won it this year. It's just like they were so bad last year, I guess.
Yeah.
But they seem to have turned the corner. Mickey Graham's got them back doing what they do well. They'll have a massive, like Cavan are just going to have a massive crowd anywhere they go. They're going to have that, and I think that I think they'll win comfortably on Sunday.
I hope we see the Cavan we saw against Donegal and not the Cavan we saw in the league final against Tipperary, because they were just so slow and lateral that day.
The whole league final was just so.
Yeah.
The league finals in general were just bad.
Flat.
Like you scratch them off.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Cavan Westmeath final, and then James.
On which you take Cavan.
I think, and it's going to be exciting games this weekend. So look forward to see the two of them. So
How
next
much
week,
tickets for the Tailteann Cup games?
I haven't checked it, James. To be honest, I haven't checked it, but hopefully there's good crowds.
You'll break 50,000.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully the game deserve it.
I think obviously you'll have a big
that'd
crowd.
be brilliant.
Sligo, it's a massive day for them as well. That's what the Tailteann Cup's about, and I hope we see it. Good weather and a good crowd on Sunday.
Couple of very, very, very quick questions, and this can be really quick. It's up to you to be quick now, boys. We've questioned in here.
Coach the kids.
Did Paddy has under 15 training with the Dubs tonight, coaching the Stars of the Future? Did the GA miss another trick this week, not bringing the Dubs to Cork?
Oh, for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, was kind of.
I'm actually just fed up with this. It's nonsense. There's not one person across the country that agrees that some of the games over the last couple of weeks should have been played in Croke Park. We're at the quarterfinal stage. There's obviously commercial reasons. The GAA, premium ticket holders, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Those games are going to be in Croke Park. There's no way they're going to be changed. Would it be brilliant to see Dublin Cork in a sellout on a Saturday night in Porky Queen? Of course it would. But why would you do something like that if you're the GAA?
Yeah, I agree. There's not much of an argument to be made around the quarterfinals, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What is the main reason for it? Is it to do with television?
That's
because
I don't know.
look better on Sky and things.
Yeah.
It makes no other sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense outside of it.
It's so strange. It's just
like, did you see the view, the look of it on TV?
It was shocking.
There
was
like,
nobody in the canal end. There was nobody. There wasn't two people in there.
Yeah.
I was at the Coming to Munster finals last week, man.
Were you?
There was a bigger crowd at it. I swear
Really?
to God.
It was horrendous to see. Like, it's taken away from the
terrible.
glory of Croker. We'll come back. We'll come back to it again. Yeah, moving on.
Going to change.
There's so much still wrong with the championship. Like, there's so much still
there
wrong.
is. And do you know what though? I tweeted the goal, the O'Neill pass, that goal. And all I said was, football played like this, perfect. That got 1 million impressions, and loads of people, international people, quote tweeting it. But I'm just saying, if the game was played the right way and we marketed it properly, this game could go anywhere, boys. It's such a good game. It's such and Jimmy.
But nobody wants to see that goal in an empty Croke Park.
No,
it wouldn't have even got 10,000 impressions. If
not a chance.
It would say, "Oh, what's that training session going on there?"
You should be like marketing for Super Value or something. You should be flogging this championship.
Jimmy does
go on Twitter without being heckled by coaches. Like
James Donoghue, can you talk us through your 1/6 of the weekend? We've got multiple questions about it. Paddy Andrews then heckled you on Twitter. He said, "Let me guess, 1 penalty, 2 frees, or 3 frees, 3 marks." 1/6 for the Legion. You're in good form.
There's no way you scored from play.
We're doing all right.
But you're in good form.
Now in Division 1 of the league.
You feeling good? Body feeling good?
Body's feeling good, yeah.
Yeah. What boots are you wearing this season?
From play.
I actually bought a lovely new pair of Tiempos there last week.
Okay, I need help because I bought the wrong boots recently.
Just do it.
Okay.
They're lovely blue.
Okay.
But no, we're going right.
Honestly, when's the last time you scored from play? 3 years ago.
I don't kick frees. I don't take them.
We saw the free you kicked last week.
Score 1/6 from play yesterday.
That was a mark.
No chance.
That was a mark, was it? Go on. How much did you score from play, James? How much did you score from play?
He's rumbled.
Surely the goal was from play.
They were all frees. They were all frees.
No, panel.
The goal was from play, no?
No, we got a goal at the end on the break.
Okay. And did you win?
We did. We won
by... Good. Okay, very quickly. He got man of the match. I felt so sorry from having to do the interview. Kevin Feely, is he the best midfielder in the country?
No.
Was he the best midfielder of the weekend?
Yeah, I think he's
the best midfielder there at the weekend. He was.
Yeah.
He's great on the ball as well. He's very good in the air. He's very calm on the ball. He's a great engine.
He's a really good player.
He's clever. He's intelligent. He's not just giving the ball away either. He's a clever player.
Yeah,
I think he'd get on. I think he'd get on any team.
Yeah.
With injuries, hasn't he? Like,
I think he'd start in any team.
We're going to talk about him more next week when we talk about the matchups. But Ryan Connolly has suggested that Rian O'Neill has been more influential than the Cliff so far. Surely Footballer of the Year if Armagh reaches semi-final. We can have that argument next week. Just a reminder to everybody.
No Footballer of the Year is decided when they haven't played the All-Ireland quarterfinals.
100%. I agree.
The championship starts now. Business now.
100%. Okay, so last 2 points of business. Just to mention, it is the final transfer window for your fantasy Gaelic teams. Paddy Andrews, make your changes this week. You've got 5 free transfers, max 4 from each county. This is your final warning.
I still have half the Tyrone team in my team.
I know you do, so you're going to have to get your changes. And just one final message. We got a request in from Paddy Moran. Paddy said, "Tommy, how's things? Could you please give a mention at the end of the show next week to Jackie Lenihan? He was the Clare Galway senior football kit man for over 10 years. No player ever got to train in our game before him ever. The club didn't have to buy a football in those 10 years, but we sadly lost him last week. He was the heart and soul of the team and a character, the way it all is. I appreciate We really appreciate it if you just give him a mention next week on the show, because people like Jackie are what make playing football great. Yeah. The memories and the characters behind the scenes at the club. Please keep up the good work. Thanks a million. So just a mention to Jackie and to everyone in Clare Galway. Sorry to hear about your loss. I think we all know people like that around the grounds and clubs all around the place. So
brilliant people you meet when you're playing at any level, club level, inter-county level. Like you say, we all know people like that just make the journey and the experience more special. And very sorry for their loss.
Yeah. 100% commiseration. So that is episode 22 of the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. Lads, I do look forward to talking to you next week. We're going to have 2 Tailteann Cup semi-finals to review. We're going to have 4 All-Ireland quarter-finals to preview. Can't wait to chat to you. Enjoy your week. Take care. And thanks to everyone at home for listening in once more to the Football Pod.
Cheers,
Good luck.